So this paper is really about analyzing to what extent we can use entity embeddings for reasoning. Now, as a motivating example, we can think of inductive knowledge graph completion. So the idea is that we have a pre-trained knowledge graph embedding that has representation for entities like wings, feathers, and flying, and a pre-trained representation for relations like has, part, and capable of. And now we have a new entity, and all we know for that entity is that it has wings, it has feathers, and is capable of flying. So basically what is happening in inductive knowledge graph completion is that we're using the available knowledge about E to learn a vector representation of E, and from that vector representation we can then predict further plausible knowledge. So essentially these triples that E is involved in, we can think of them as attributes because the only unknown here is the entity E. And so the framework that we're looking at is really where we have some kind of vector representation of these attributes that we have about entity E, which are used to construct a representation of E as a vector. So somehow we're pulling attribute vectors. And then we have some kind of scoring function, which we can think of as a decoder that allows us to predict missing attributes. Now, we say that this framework models a rule like has wings and has feathers and can fly implies is bird, if it is such that whenever the attributes has wings, has feathers, and can fly are initially given, the representation of the entity that we're learning is such that we would predict the attribute is bird to hold as well. The main result in the paper is to analyze for different combination of pooling strategies and different labeling functions what kind of reasoning can be simulated. So is it in principle possible to simulate the rules that are entailed by a given propositional knowledge base? So that's what you can see in the column about monotonic reasoning. And then you do the same analysis for a particular framework of non-monotonic reasoning.